What are staking, liquidity mining, or YieldVault, and who should use what? Hey and welcome to today's video. My name is Julian. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Cake DeFi. If you open our web app or mobile app, the first thing you see are three services that we're offering, either staking, liquidity mining, or YieldVault. And if you are a new user, you may have this question on which is the right product for you. How do these products work? And in this short video today, I want to do a bit of a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, so that you understand what kind of user you are, what's your risk tolerance, and in return, which service should you be going into. So we're always going to start with the service. I'm going to do a quick explainer, and then we're going to do SWOT. And at the end, I give you a quick summary of what kind of user should be using what kind of service. Let's start with staking. Staking is a consensus algorithm for many blockchains, just like Ethereum, DeFi Chain, Dash, Matic, and many others. The idea here is that you have a vote in what the next block should look like. And with you, I'm talking about computers. It's not humans. But for you to have a vote, you have to lock up coins. So this is different as, for example, in Bitcoin, where it's proof of work. You have to mine, you have to do calculations, which cost a lot of electricity. And in staking, this is being done by staking or locking up coins. This is the mechanics behind it. And so now the question is, how does this work for you? How do you make money from this? So let's start with the S, with strengths. Because it's a consensus algorithm, this means it's super fundamental to the blockchain. It's extremely safe to use. It's very unlikely that you're going to have issues with this. And you will see this when we talk about YieldVault or liquidity mining. There are some potential issues there. So if you are more the risk-averse user, the strengths of that is exactly yours. Now, when we talk about the weaknesses, the W, well, staking depends on the blockchain. For example, Bitcoin doesn't have staking. So if you hold Bitcoin, you couldn't be staking. It's just not possible. So you have to really align this with the coins. Ethereum, DeFi Chain, Matic, Dash, and many other coins are staking coins. So some of the weaknesses simply is that it's not as flexible to the various coins because it is very specific to the blockchain. Now, what are the opportunities? Well, the opportunities are, it's very straightforward. It works with the coins. And many people would even say, if you hold a coin that's stakeable, it's absolutely a no-brainer to also stake it because the risk for staking is relatively low. Last, the T, threats. I think the biggest threat to staking is probably regulation from the US. Now, we as a platform, we're based in Singapore, so it wouldn't directly impact us or our business, but it would probably impact the coin if the largest jurisdiction in the world, the US, would go and say, I know, staking Ethereum may have issues. This may be a bit problematic. Personally, and obviously this is very subjective, I think the risk for this is extremely small. But in this entire analysis, I just really want to kind of give this kind of rundown. And I think on the T side, threats, staking with the regulation is essential to understand. With this, let's move on to our second service. Liquidity mining is probably on the exact opposite spectrum of staking. What you do here is you don't provide just one coin, you provide two coins, you provide a trading pair. And you put this into a decentralized exchange. And in this decentralized exchange, other people can exchange between those coins. They exchange the pair, and you are making a cut on those trading fees. So if you look at the centralized exchange, where this company makes all the fees, it's you as a user providing this liquidity. So let's talk about strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Well, the strengths in all of this is that it works with pretty much all the coins as long as there's a trading pair. And the returns on this are extremely high. So potentially, if you are a very risk-affine person, you like risk, you want to have high returns, you understand these concepts, then liquidity mining is your route to go. Weakness, it is the most complex service because you have to submit two coins. There is a concept called impermanent loss where these coins move against each other. So these are things that are not so easy to understand in comparison to, for example, staking. I think this is the strongest weakness in all of that. Opportunities, if you do like returns, if you are absolutely okay in providing two coins, if you're absolutely okay that these returns come back in those two coins, this is exactly your coin. If you like trading in and out of two coins, this is your strategy. Threat, the biggest threat in liquidity mining is, as mentioned, impermanent loss. And the reason why this is a threat is because in theory, despite this service working perfectly, if impermanent loss is extremely high, and this happens if these coins move against each other, but you end up with less coins than you started with. And this sounds counterintuitive. This is not possible in staking. This is not possible when we talk about YieldVault, which is on-chain lending. This is not possible in these other services. But in liquidity mining, the biggest threat is that you may have everything working, but you end up with less coins. So if you just go through that, that's why I started with staking, because I think it's the safest of all of them. Liquidity mining is on the exact other spectrum, has the highest potential returns, but it also has the service that you need to understand the best. And that brings us to the middle service. And the middle service is YieldVault. YieldVault is nothing else than a name for on-chain lending. Why? Because most lending in the past happened via CeFi services. And you've heard all these services in 2022 going bust. You heard this about FTX and so on, where people lended coins to these services, and then at the end, they couldn't return the money and everything went bust. So we want to be completely transparent on all these services. You can track and trace everything on staking. You can track and trace everything on the liquidity mining. And we also want you to be able to track everything on the on-chain lending, hence on-chain. And the way we structure the service is via a vault. So your coins are being taken as collateral in a vault. And via that, we can generate yield for you, completely transparent. So if we talk about strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, the strength here is that whatever collateral is being accepted in these vaults, we can generate yield for you. And the good thing is that these are pretty much the large coins. Bitcoin, Ethereum, stable coins, DFI, all these coins can be used as collateral. Also EURC, and this is a coin that many people appreciate because it's basically a tokenized euro. Tokenized dollars also exist. So all these can generate some really nice yield for you, completely transparent. Weaknesses? The biggest weakness in all of this is that many of these yield strategies on-chain are transient. They don't exist forever. So sometimes they go down in yield, sometimes they disappear completely. That doesn't mean that you lose your coins. It just means that we have to give back your coins. You keep the yield you have received. And from that point onwards, we just have to look for new opportunities. We had this, for example, at the end of 2022, where we felt there was too much risk in the market. We returned all the coins and we just waited until we had new opportunities. Then at the beginning of Q1 2023, we said, hey, we have a new opportunity. If you want, you can use this, you get yield again. And there may be down the line that we're like, look, the yield is not there anymore. We're returning all the coins. We're looking for new possibilities. And so I think that's a big weakness, that this is not as permanent as in staking, for example. Staking, very predictable how this is going to continue. On the on-chain lending, we may have to close one opportunity, open one up. This is, I think, a big key. So opportunities. I think on the opportunity side, as mentioned also on the strength side, it's just exciting that you can do this with Bitcoin, with Ethereum, with stable coins. And you can do this completely transparently. So on the opportunity side, I think it makes so much sense if you own, for example, Bitcoin. And the liquidity mining is too volatile for use, too complicated. YieldVault is such a no-brainer. If you are someone who has ETH, for example, you may want to compare what gives you better returns. Is it ETH staking or is it the ETH YieldVault? It could be either or you may just maybe diversify. So both services may work here. So from an opportunity standpoint, a very exciting product. Threat, the biggest threat to YieldVault is that of a vault getting liquidated. That means the collateral sinks, especially when crypto prices are dropping. And so you always want to use a service provider that has a lot of security measures here. For example, we in-house, we have humans having to monitor that. We have extra pathways that kind of alarm, check, automate everything, measure everything to make sure that these vaults are absolutely safe. So this is really essential on the on-chain lending part. So this hopefully gives you a bit of an overview. Staking, liquidity mining, YieldVault. If you are a very conservative investor that just wants to put coins in, get coins out, doesn't want to have to think so much, doesn't have to understand so much, to me, there's only two routes for you, either staking or YieldVault. And it really depends on the coins. If you have Bitcoin, YieldVault is pretty much the only way to go. If you have stable coins, YieldVault is the only way to go. If you have stakeable coins, Ethereum, DeFi Chain, Dash, Matic, and many, many more, well, the staking route obviously works for you really well. ETH would be a big exception. DeFi Chain is an exception that you can use for both. So maybe you just want to compare the returns on that. You can also, and that's the good part, you can go in and out. So that's also going to give you some flexibility. For those of you that understand these products way better and you're way into the ecosystem, liquidity mining is probably the way to go for you, because here you can get double or triple the returns than you can get in YieldVault or in staking. But obviously you have this additional risk as well. And maybe just diversifying may actually be the best option for you. So I hope this overview gave you a bit of some insights into the 3 major services that we have. We are going to be adding more in the future, so just keep an eye on that. And otherwise, if you're just becoming a customer, sign up, go to cakedefi.com, register, do your KYC, meaning you have to verify yourself, fund your account, and then let us pay you cash flow on your crypto. Thank you so much. Yours truly, Julian.